Hey everybody. Would it surprise you if I said life is a journey and we sometimes feel like we're on this journey all by ourselves? But would it also surprise you if I tell you that that is absolutely not true, that we are never alone in our struggles? It's a condition of humanity. So let's talk about that. Okay? Now, welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, and if you haven't, I'm very glad that you're here because this is an important topic that I think people in their 40s and older, especially, we already know a lot of this, but I think maybe this would be a very good refresher course for some of us, okay? I've got some notes so I don't forget anything, but struggles, of course, are just, again, like I said, something that we all go through. But we, as Gen X, or even boomers and so on, especially though addressing the people over 40, which would be any of the above, we want to solve our own problems. We do not like to ask for help. We like to be, left alone. We will just about bust our butts to figure out an answer for something if we don't know how to do it. It almost pains most of us to have to ask for help, okay? So I want to talk about that. Now, for those of us in Gen X and beyond, of course, the struggles can sometimes feel like they're bigger than they are. And one of the reasons for that is because we don't necessarily ever talk about our struggles to each other. And if we did, we would understand that more of us are in the same boat. Whether it's financial, whether it's relationships, whether it's our kids, whether it's our parents, whatever it is that we're going through, others are going through the same exact thing. And what we have to understand is one of the most powerful ways to cope with struggles is by simply sharing them with someone else. Again, that's a very hard thing for many of us to do, but it is one of the most effective, from my research, that you can do, okay, psychologically speaking. So even if you open up to a friend or even a stranger, they say that getting things out of your system, and I think that's why sometimes the online presence here in this type of vlog and this type of talking, sometimes I think that is why so many of us enjoy it, because we are getting out some of our feelings more than we ordinarily would on a day-to-day basis with the people we are dealing with in real life. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Maybe. So anyway, opening up, just can make sure that we do understand that we have other people that will look us right back in the face and say, I went through that divorce myself, or a divorce myself this many years ago, and this is how I got through it. Or I just sometimes, you'll talk to someone, you'll let out whatever's going on with you, and they'll say, I totally understand. I have been there. I don't know how you feel, but I have my own experience, so I can empathize with you. That type of thing. Those things are very helpful, just to hear from someone. Now, what we have to also do is we have to embrace, I think, again, very hard for Gen X to do, is we have to embrace our vulnerability. And that's one thing that leads me to a lot of these channels on YouTube right now for people our age and by people our age, is that a lot of us are just putting ourselves out there and saying, look, this is who I am, this is how I feel, and this is me, and you can take it or leave it. And that's good for us, okay? Because that's not something that we are typically known for doing. And if you meet someone, let's say you're still, you're in a situation where you want to date, you want to try to still look for a significant other, and it may not be your first significant other. If you're our age, you've probably been through a few. But let's say you're out there and you're interested in the dating field and so on, then when you use that vulnerability and you show your emotions to other people, it, as you let down your guard, it brings you closer. Okay. Now, again, there's always this whole thing about people saying oversharing, don't overshare, don't overshare. I think we get mixed messages because we're told to get out the feelings, talk about your emotions, deal with the fact that you're struggling by talking to other people and by getting into the community and by doing all these things and so on. But then at the same time, they're like, well, you don't want to overshare. So that confuses a lot of us. And I think there's probably just a fine line between this oversharing and, if you go up to some stranger somewhere that you're never going to meet again, and you strike up a conversation, or they strike up a conversation, and you may share something about some of your frustrations, that's not, to me, oversharing. Okay, you're never going to see this person again. Who cares? Who cares? If you're talking to someone in person that you have come in contact with a lot, and your acquaintances and so on, that's where you might pull back a little bit. Just kind of, you don't share everything, because that seems to be the line for, what I understand. Now remember, I am also working on emotional intelligence myself, and therapy, believe me, therapy helps with that type of thing, even though I'm still working on it, and I probably will be until the day I die. I will finally, hopefully, understand better about emotional maturity and connections and intelligence and all that. But those are also important to us. Now, remember, it's okay to ask for help. Like I said, that's not something that we like to do. Okay, we were the MacGyver, we'll find whatever it is to make it work. We will do things in very unique ways sometimes. We use what we have most of the time, and we definitely don't want to bother other people with our problems. Now, the thing is, maybe we're not bothering them. We need to keep in mind, maybe as we share with them, when we're comfortable sharing with someone on whatever level and whatever way you're doing it, maybe, just maybe, they need it as much as we do. Okay? Especially if they're around our age. Maybe just having that genuine feeling that we're talking to another human on a level that we know that we can empathize, that we can understand to some extent, and more than anything else, that we can just be there and listen to them. And hopefully, when we need it, someone will listen to us. Again, very hard for us to do. Okay, when I was younger, I used to absolutely despise crying from anybody and from myself. And I would fight against crying as hard as I could. And then throughout the years, I've learned that sometimes that's what I need to do. Sometimes I need to cry. I need to get it out. And it helps. I believe truly that talking to someone, or someone you're very close to, or someone you totally don't know, I think different situations, but same kind of result. Because usually, again, we all have the same type of struggles. We've all had similar types of experiences at this point in our lives. And it's important to remember that no matter what you're going through, and no matter how big a hole you've dug yourself into, or whatever it is, okay, you're not alone, and you need to reach out to someone, okay? And people here in my community here on YouTube, there's a great bunch of people that will be supportive of you regardless of whatever you're having to struggle with at that time. Okay, so I would invite you to come back and anytime connect with any of my subscribers, with me, just anything that you want to talk about. I'm there because I've been through so many things, and I have nothing but love for people on the whole. Okay, I like to believe in my heart still that most people are good, even though we are fallen creatures, and boy, do we make some mistakes. But I like to believe that we can come together and we can help each other, lift each other up, in that way with just support, just words, kind words might be all it takes, okay? But first and foremost and forever and ever, you are not alone. And don't ever forget it, okay? Love you guys.